The King and Queen of love my shepherd is. I shall not be in want. You call your sheep by name and lead them out. You make me lie down in green pastures. You lead me beside still waters. You revive my soul. Your goodness faileth never. I nothing lack if I am yours. You spread a table before me in the presence of those who trouble me. You have anointed my head with oil, and my cup is running over. You came that your sheep may have life and have it abundantly. And thus I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever, for you are mine forever. Those are words from our hymn and the psalm and the gospel reading today. Clearly, it is Good Shepherd Sunday. So much imagery around shepherds and sheep being provided with pastures, water, and being known by the shepherd and protected from danger. Jesus tells us that he has come to usher in abundant life. So why does he use the image of a shepherd and sheep? Scholar Warren Carter invites us to enter this text by considering the shepherd as an image for political leadership. In Greco-Roman literature, Homer and Plato and Aristotle lift up the ideal political ruler as being like a shepherd. Listen to this from Aristotle as he describes a political leader: is a benefactor of his people, inasmuch as he devotes his whole talents to their welfare and tends to them as a shepherd does his sheep. So a good ruler, a good shepherd, devotes all their talents, all their resources to their people, tending to them, offering both security and abundance. So this is the context in which Jesus proclaims that he is the good shepherd. And as John has been doing throughout his gospel, Jesus, the good shepherd, is being compared to the political rulers who are currently ruling over Israel. So the bad shepherd would then be the Roman leaders, as imperial life has been extremely oppressive and bleak for the people of Israel. Scholar Lindsay Jodrey notes that at this time, around 70 to 80% of the people were food insecure. 70 to 80%. So the image of sheep going in and out of a good pasture and having access to nourishment and protection from those who seek to kill and destroy was not just a nice, quiet picture of a shepherd with a bunch of sheep wandering passively together. Jesus is proclaiming what life is like in the resurrection, that in following Jesus and entering into the community of his followers, we enter into the promise of life abundant. If we look at where we are today, we can use these same sorts of criteria of good leadership that Aristotle put forth over 2,300 years ago. How are our leaders devoting their whole talent to the welfare of the people? And are they tending them as a shepherd does their sheep? Are they providing sustenance and security? How are we holding them accountable to this radical call to servant leadership? And are we ourselves in our own areas of leadership approaching our roles with this sort of mindset, which calls us to acts of costly hospitality, and of self-giving love. This calls us to accountability for not only how we are living today, but also for what we are leaving for those who come behind us. In the brunch that we just had with the Good Shepherd Society, we were invited to consider our legacy, how we can contribute towards leaving this community in a good place financially, giving thanks for the community today by supporting the community that will come after us. In that same vein, we can consider what our legacy is in terms of justice in this place and time. And what are we leaving for the people who will come after us? What is the promise of abundant life that we proclaim here in this place, that we seek for ourselves and our neighbors? Security and abundance, those two key things that honor the dignity and belovedness of each human being, and which make for a just and peaceful society. We're not there. My friends, Reese, a beloved teen close to our community, was shot this week in a random act of violence just about a mile away from here. There are bullet holes in cars and in a building, and another man was shot as well. All random shots by a person as he fled. Our beloved is recovering from his physical wounds. But the wounds of this act of violence are much broader than the 2 bullet holes he bears in his leg. The wounds ripple out through this entire community, through his family and his friends, who now too carry the wounds of trauma from this event. We are not keeping our children safe. You've heard me say this before in the pulpit. The gun violence that we have condemned in our preaching before is now here. It has come home to us. This is not the legacy that I want to pass on to my children. That the right to have automatic weapons is more important than the lives of our children. That is not liberty. This is not how we keep one another safe. Fear is what is driving this gun violence pandemic, and we have work to do so that this is not our legacy of justice. Christ calls us to a different way of being together. We see this in the reading from Acts. Resurrection life is life in community together. It is feasting on the words of our sacred scriptures. It is in coming together in fellowship, seeking to ever extend the table and invite all to break bread together. It is seeking to provide for those in need and responding from a place of love. Moving into fellowship with those who think differently, live differently, act differently than we do, and coming together around a table and sharing a meal, remembering our commonality and our mutual dependence on one another. This is how we shift the tides of this world. This is how we move from singular tunnel vision to seeing the kaleidoscope of perspectives and of values. Arguing with one another and shouting across lines does nothing to move us from where we are now. The King and Queen of love, my shepherd is, whose goodness faileth never. God's love and goodness is what grounds us and guides us to transform our common lives together. We have got to take action together and work to create a safer place for ourselves and our children and our children's children, that we may have life together and have it abundantly. Amen.